Number 4. Establish the following relations. There are 4 relations mainly involving mu, delta, forward difference, backward difference, E and capital D. Before going to establish these relations, let us clear about 2 things. One should not use equality signs in place of equivalent signs in these relations. Secondly, we can only use equality sign if there are operands after operators. One cannot go for simply algebraic calculations or simplifications between operators only, maintaining the equality signs. Like e minus 1 square equal to e square minus 2e plus 1. This type of algebraic calculation one should not do maintaining the equality sign. So either we have to include equivalent sign here, or if we keep the sign equality, there must be some operand like fx or gx both sides. First relation, mu delta equivalent to 1 by 2 of forward delta plus backward delta. Here mu delta, mu can be put as half of e to the power half plus e to the power minus half, and delta as e to the power minus half minus e to the power minus half. So mu delta is equivalent to half of e minus e inverse, which may be further equivalent to half of e minus 1 plus 1 minus e inverse, just adding and subtracting 1. Now e minus 1 equal to forward delta, and 1 minus e inverse is equal to backward delta, as it is clearly found from this relation. Backward fx is equal to fx minus fx minus x equal to fx minus e inverse fx. So backward delta equivalent to 1 minus e inverse. So this is 1 minus e inverse equivalent to backward delta, this is forward delta. So half of forward delta plus backward delta. Second part comes from here itself. Half of e minus 1 equal to delta by 2, and 1 minus e inverse is equivalent to e minus 1 by e, which means mu delta is again equivalent to delta by 2 plus half e minus 1 of e inverse. So mu delta equal to delta by 2 plus delta e inverse by 2, because e minus 1 equal to delta again. Relation 3, hd equivalent to log of 1 plus delta, and operator e equivalent to e to the power hd. We know e of gx equal to g of x plus h, which when expanding in terms of Taylor series gives gx plus h g dash x plus h square by 2 factorial g double dash x. equal to gx plus h d gx. D stands for ddx, another operator, and after simplifying it gives an infinite series of 1 plus hd by 1 factorial plus h square d square by 2 factorial plus dot dot dot, which gives e to the power hd of gx. So comparing these two, we have capital E is equivalent to e to the power hd, which means hd equivalent to log capital E. That means hd is equivalent to log of 1 plus delta base E. Fourth relation, hd is equivalent to sine hyperbolic inverse mu delta. Sine hyperbolic inverse mu delta. We have already derived mu delta equivalent to half of E minus E inverse in the first relation we have already established, and from the last relation E is equivalent to e to the power hd, therefore E inverse is equivalent to e to the power minus hd. So half of e to the power hd minus e to the power minus hd becomes sine hyperbolic of hd. That gradually means hd is equivalent to sine hyperbolic inverse of mu delta. Number 5. Evaluate order 28 of product of 7 factors starting from 1 minus a1x and last factor is 1 minus a7x to the power 7, where h is given as 3. The highest degree term in the polynomial under consideration is minus a1 into a2 into a3 up to a7 x to the power 28, and remaining all other terms is of degree 27 or less than 27. Now we know the nth order forward difference of a polynomial of degree n is constant and all other higher differences are 0. That is delta r fx, this is equal to either constant or equal to 0. Constant when r equals to n, and if r is greater than n, then this is 0. So if the order and degree of fx is same, it gives constant, and if the order is higher, it becomes 0. Accordingly, we have delta 28 of this constant term plus delta 28 of terms whose degree is 27 or less, that must be equal to 0 because this is more than 27. So now what is delta 28 of this polynomial of same degree? We know delta n of say some nth degree polynomial, in brief say c naught x to the power n, plus there may be terms containing lesser degree. So highest degree term is c naught x to the power n, and delta n of c naught x to the power n equal to nothing but constant c naught n factorial into h to the power n. So c naught n factorial into h to the power n. Accordingly, we have minus a1, a2, a3 up to a7, 28 factorial into 3 to the power 28, as h is given here 3. So our answer is minus a1, a2 dot 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 a7 into 28 factorial into 3 to the power 28. Number 6. Evaluate delta square by e to the power x, e of e to the power x divided by delta square e to the power x. That is, simplify this quantity. This is very simple. E inverse e to the power minus x can be expressed as e to the power x minus h, and in the next stage it can be simplified into e to the power x into e to the power minus h. So e to the power minus h comes outside of delta square e to the power x, e of e to the power x by delta square e to the power x. It means it becomes only this quantity e to the power minus h into e of e to the power x, that is e to the power minus h into e to the power x plus h. So final answer is e to the power x. Number 7. Why are we interested to find out only a bound of remainder term in interpolation, but not interested in to evaluate its exact value? We know the remainder term or error term in interpolation formula is Ex equal to Fx minus phi x, which is approximately equal to product of x minus x naught, x minus x1 up to x minus xn into fn plus 1 xi divided by n plus 1 factorial, where xi belongs to x naught xn. Now on fn plus 1 xi, few things to be noted. Number 1, the remainder term Ex contains almost an indeterminate term fn plus 1 xi. Number 2, we know from interpolation that the analytical form of fx is unknown in most cases. That is, fn plus 1 xi cannot be evaluated. Even if in some cases the analytical form of fx be known also, still we cannot evaluate the term fn plus 1 xi due to its complication or complicated in nature. Moreover, as xi x belongs to x naught xn is an unknown number, so the determination of fn plus 1 xi is impossible, even if we know fn plus 1 x. Hence, in any situations above, the remainder term or error term Ex cannot be evaluated exactly. So our aim is to find out its maximum value or to find out an upper bound in some special situations only.